I wanted to talk about the brain. We're always seeking foods for brain health, cognitive health. We talk about depression. While there is a lot of depression, which is a chemical imbalance, and it's real, it's absolutely real. A lot of us get ourselves into situations where we're building our own events that can make us feel depressed. There are two ways of looking at it. Over the last 13 years, dealing with these patients around the world, I've noticed certain commonalities. Of course, there are like straight up cases of depression, imbalance in their serotonin, in their dopamine levels and all of that stuff. And then there are people who are going through very, very difficult trauma and tragic incidents in life. And then there are people who just have too much of time on their hand. They're not working. They don't have too much of purpose. They have so much of time. And I'm not judging these people. A lot of them may have inherited a lot of wealth from their parents, so they don't feel the need that they need to work. A lot of them have probably dropped out of university and college for whatever reasons. We need to understand that when we have more time at hand, the human mind will start moving towards things that are not always positive. And that is why every spiritual path talks about worshiping the work that we do. And when I say worship your work, it doesn't mean you got to become a slave to it. You don't have to become a workaholic, ignore your family, ignore your health and everything else. But the point is, how are we keeping ourselves busy from the time we wake up to the time we sleep? I'm not scared to discuss certain people who fall into wealth at an early stage in life or even later. Maybe their parents left them an inheritance. Some people win a lottery. Some people are handed over easy money. Some people make money easy. But then they change their lifestyle. They give up their purpose. They stop going to work. And they have all this time in the world. Okay? All this time in the world, which they put into different, things. And the point is, that's where the problem is. As human beings, we're meant to be busy in a good way. Now, busy doesn't mean you drive yourself crazy with work. Whether you're working at home, whether you're working at office, you got to plan your day. You have to wake up with something to look forward to. That purpose doesn't have to be your life purpose. You can wake up today morning with a purpose to hit the gym, go for a run, spend some time in nature, spend some time with your family, do a little bit of work, learn a new skill. Whatever it is, you need to set your intention for the day. You have to wake up with something to do, because if you don't, you end up sitting in a coffee shop, which is not a bad thing, but just talking about people, talking about what you don't have, complaining, blaming. You got to be so busy that you don't have time in your day to complain and blame about little things or little people that do not matter in your life. The brain has to be busy to grow. What you don't use, you lose. A lot of people have so much of time that they spend most of their time scrolling mindlessly on social media, binge watching television and all of that stuff, making small talk with friends or so-called friends. I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm here to ask you that if you are in this category, is it serving you? If it's serving you, go ahead with that choice of life. But if it's not serving you, and despite not having anything to do, having the time to do whatever you want, but you're still feeling empty, you're still feeling depressed, the first thing would be, how can I make my life busy in a beautiful way that serves me? How can I get into volunteer work? How can I serve? Maybe you made a lot of money. Why don't you try service? It's a priceless feeling when you're able to serve. It's easy to write a good check out, a big check out. Don't stop that. But also try to put yourself into service, because I promise you one thing. With most of our people who are falling into depression or fell into depression, besides some of them being on medication, the one thing that worked for them, besides looking at their sleep, their nutrition, their emotional wellness, their exercise, was filling their day with things to do. The human mind and the human being was never meant to do nothing. We're supposed to do stuff. Deep work, deep rest. Party, play, deep work. There's always a balance. There's a yin and yang. It's always that way. And we need to understand that we need to be filling our day with things to do. Now, what are these things that we can do? Number one, connect with nature. I can promise you, if people out there are going through depression, changing their environment is extremely, extremely critical. You may live in a congested city, but you need to find ways to connect with nature, because nature has a profound natural healing effect on us. I'm not going to say it's going to replace your drugs, but hey, it can start you on that process or that journey towards reducing your medication over time. Connect with natural light. Connect with real people. Do you know the amount of people on Instagram, who have millions of followers, who are our patients every day, they feel empty. They have the love of the world is what they think they have. But that love is not real. It's all virtual love. They wake up every morning looking at the likes that they have, the validation. They have even one person who's not liked their post, and they slip into a depressive pattern. We need to understand, while this is not anyone's fault, it's our responsibility to be aware of these things and make those changes. If you are a parent and you are handing over a device with social media to your kid under the age of 18, you got to be prepared for the consequences. Just because the world is doing it, your friends are doing it, and everyone is doing it, and you have that lame excuse that my child will feel left out. Okay, that's something that you do with your own insecurity. Well, your child is being left out from drugs, cocaine, heroin, and everything else as well. Social media is equally bad. You need to understand there are some things in life that are okay and some things that are not okay. And we, with authority and with position, we need to enforce that. We don't need to think about the negatives, because when your child is damaged tomorrow, which they mostly will be with social media being used the wrong way, okay, you can't sit back and blame the world. There are certain things that we enforce with discipline in a nice way, and there are certain things that we are allowed to be liberal with. But the point is that we need to understand, if we want great brain health for ourselves and our kids, we need to create the right environment. Get your kids busy. Don't burn them out. No kid needs to go through 5 classes in a day. No kid needs to do that. And go back and check with all the children who have done that. What have they really turned out to be in life? The point is, there may be a few who can do that, but allow your children to grow. There are phases in life. A child is meant to grow as a child. Let them enjoy their childhood. Then teenagers, it changes. Your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. We got to live our stages and phases of life. But we try to fill our children's lives with so much of stuff that they don't have any more brain space. And then they crave this relaxation, which is not always the right way that we give them. It's more TV time, it's more gadget time. They think they're relaxing, but that's not relaxation. They're just burning more and more dopamine. So the point is today, if you woke up feeling depressed, the first thing that you need to do, acknowledge the feeling. The second, fill up your day with stuff to do. Because if you don't have anything to do, your mind is constantly going to move towards the negatives. You're going to have more and more time to rehearse everything negative in your mind. But you got to be so busy, pleasantly busy, in a way that serves you, that you don't have time for the small stuff that is insignificant, the small stuff that doesn't serve you. Have a great day, everyone, and peace be with all of you.